your TV tones today on Call for Help.
Bum, 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 bum. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. It's time for Call for Help. Tell everybody in the neighborhood, hey, call for help. Just throw the window open. Hey, call for help, son. Come on. You can come over to my house. Tell everybody. This is the show you've been waiting for, the show where we explain technology in ways everyone can understand so that you can use it. I mean, it's not, I don't care if you understand it. That's not the point of this. The point is I want you to be able to use it, to feel comfortable with it, so you can change your life, so you can make a difference, so you can have more fun, be more productive. Whatever it is you're looking for, technology can help you. It can be a boon or a bane. There's some, I don't know if I really want to get into this in too great a detail, but there's some technologies are kind of inherently, bane. Nuclear bomb, bane. X-ray technology, good. Computer, digital technology, it doesn't go one way or the other. It could be either good or bad. It's really up to the user and how you use it. So that's why it's so important, I think, for all of us to learn how to use this stuff so we can use it for good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, let me introduce my call for helpers. Andy Walker, Amber MacArthur. You kind of understand what I'm saying when I say that, right?
Yeah.
Technology can go either way. It can be used against us, spyware and viruses and snoops and all that stuff, or we can use it to protect ourselves and to speak out, to use our voices.
To communicate.
Communicate. That's
Definitely.
what I like it the
yeah,
best. Yeah,
that's the best part about it.
I think it's what it's really all about.
Yeah, connecting people.
One of these things is just a big fancy calculator if it's not connected.
Exactly.
But once you connect them, man, it's amazing what you can do. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things today. Actually, television.
Yes.
You're going back to black and white?
I was looking for segment ideas, and I was thinking, how can I turn my TV into a black and white unit? No.
That would be a good hack.
You guys know this thing, right? This is a remote control.
Remote control.
You ever notice there's a menu button on some of these guys?
Yeah.
And when you push that menu button or setup button, it has all these really cool settings. So I decided to investigate how to optimize your blacks and your whites and your contrasts and all of that.
That's actually very important. I think people don't realize that the setting, not just for your TV, but for your monitor, is often wrong.
Yeah.
And by a little simple tweak, you can make it look so much better.
I have some really cool tips.
Speaking of video, Steve Gibson is here, our great friend. We love Steve. He's our security whiz, the guy who created SpinRite and Shields Up, but he's also, Steve's kind of a TV nut. And he likes to watch TV, not only in his house, but on the plane, on the bus, and on the train. He's figured out a way, well, it's not personally, but he's figured out how to use existing tools on the net to put television on these little PDAs. This is a Palm, you can put it on a Pocket PC. It all comes down to video compression. We're going to talk a little bit about video compression. It's really one of the most exciting areas right now in computers because it's something everybody wants to do, is get that video across the internet, distribute it in all sorts of new ways. You got a web workshop?
Yeah, I'm going to do another web workshop, and we're going to talk about Microsoft Visio and how to use it to actually create a sitemap or mock-ups of your homepage.
A lot of people have Visio and don't know it because it's part of Office, the big Office, right?
Exactly.
Not everybody gets it.
Yeah, not everybody knows that they have it and they don't know how to use it, so we're going to show them how to use that, but if they don't have that, we'll suggest other ideas as well.
Visio, a Visio intro. But first, will you intro our caller?
I will, for sure. We have John on the webcam from Kitchener, Ontario.
Hey, John!
Hey, Leo. I had a question about Wi-Fi. I do a lot of long-haul truck driving, and a lot of the truck stops have gone to a Wi-Fi hotspots around.
Really? Oh, that's neat.
And myself and everybody else, we're having problems with reception.
Yeah.
Like, you could be, right next to that antenna, and you still get, in the yellow. Most of the time, you're hitting red.
That's not good.
And I was just wondering, is there a way to, boost your reception or anything along those lines?
Andy, I'll let you chime in on this one if you have any thoughts. Let me say, first of all, that wireless networking, Wi-Fi, goes over a microwave frequency, 2.4 gigahertz. The higher the frequency, the more difficult it is to penetrate things. And at that frequency, metal is particularly difficult. So if you have your laptop in the cab of your truck and it's below the door, it's it's not going to get through the door.
Yeah, actually, I'm in the bunk when I'm on it.
Same thing. You've got the metal all around you.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so bad. And the other thing is, and you should probably talk to the truck stop because I mean, look, they're not experts in this stuff. They probably just said, well, yeah, we'll plug it in and put it up. They can help you a lot by good positioning, putting it somewhere where there's nothing blocking its signals.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. And it's kind of a black art. Moving things around often helps a lot. You're right, the proximity is the #1 factor. The closer you are, the better. But things in between, you know, the best deal would be line of sight. If you could see it and it could see you, you're going to have the best chance. And at that point, it should go around 150 feet without too much difficulty.
Oh, okay.
About 50 meters.
Usually you're further than that away from the building.
Ah, well, all right. That's another issue.
Yeah.
And they may want to start looking into, now it will only work if everybody upgrades, some of these new Wi-Fi, the pre-N Wi-Fi routers, which go 4 or 5 or 6 times farther.
Oh, wow.
Andy, I know, tested the Belkin pre-N, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah, I did, and I mean, what it is you're getting a better range and you're getting a better signal within shorter distances. So, for example, if you're 100 feet out and you normally have a fair signal, you'll actually get a good signal using this pre-N router. Unfortunately, you have to put a new network card in your laptop to benefit from it.
okay.
That's the biggest problem.
And you said you'd have to go get all the drivers to upgrade.
But I do have an idea for him.
Okay.
And okay, so let's see. Do you have are you near a window? Or do you have access to a window at the bunk?
At the top, I've also got a sunroof style thing at the front.
So here's an idea. You can actually get these wireless cards that actually have a pigtail to a separate antenna.
That would help a lot.
So you could actually stick that into your laptop.
Oh, and then put the antenna.
Put the antenna hanging out the window or the sunroof or something like that.
It would go either. It would go both ways because they could probably do the same thing and should do the same thing to their base station, add an external antenna. Number of companies make them. I use one from Hawking. Not very expensive. It's under $100. It's a fairly inexpensive thing to do. And now the thing is, these are passive, so they don't give you as much benefit as an active repeater would, but they do improve the signal quite a bit. In fact, they make the same company, Hawking, at hawkingtech.com, also makes signal boosters that are not passive. They're actually repeaters.
Oh, okay.
So there are ways to solve this, to work on this, Wi-Fi range extending products, if you can get the truck stops to help.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're going to a bunch of different places. So
yeah, I'm all over. We did find that the USB ones were a little bit better because you could stick them in different places.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hawking has a really good article on this, and in fact, that's exactly what they do. That you take it and it comes out of your laptop right here, and then it becomes, you can put that on the roof of your cab or whatever, and you're going to get much better results. This is the passive antenna I was talking about.
Okay.
That'll give you some gain, but much better to use an active antenna.
Okay.
And so there's a good article on Hawking that you can look at their stuff, and of course they're trying to sell you some products, but the basic ideas are the same no matter what you're using.
Okay.
We have a little is this an extender? Look it. We've got one. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, this is an AeroLAN. Okay. This is a USB extender. So actually, it's a USB adapter. So exactly as you said, instead of putting it inside your laptop, you're going to have a cable coming out from the USB port, and you could put this somewhere a little bit. Oh, sorry. You can put this somewhere a little bit easier to see. So those are the kinds of things you can do. There's not, I mean, you're somewhat limited, especially since you can't get all the drivers to change and you can't get the truck stops to change either.
Yeah.
But at least you can tell them, the guys, you know, have line of sight as best you can. Don't be inside encased in metal. That kind of thing is going to give you better results.
Okay.
Okay, John?
Sounds good.
So are you like the truck stop geek, the driver geek, the guy they
I'm
all
the one
come?
that, well, everybody saw me and then everybody else wanted it, so I was helping everybody get
That's
set
so
up.
cool. Show us your T-shirt now. We want everybody to see. There you go, Canada. All right, we got a little patriotic plug in there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, thanks, John. Really great to talk to you.
Thanks, Leo.
Take care.
Bye.
Now we're gonna get an Australian. The Australian flag, all right?
All right.
I'm counting on you. After the break, when compressing video for playback on those little devices, the more you understand about the underlying technology, the better and more satisfying your results will be. So Steve Gibson, Professor Gibson I call him, is back. He's going to explain a little bit about compressing video so it can play back anywhere. It's a very hot topic right now. We'll show you more in just a bit. Stick around.
This episode is based on a 1989 big tobacco marketing idea.
1/3 of younger adult smokers have watched MTV or VH1 in the past week.
We propose making our own music video.
We would send out 500,000 copies and run ads like this.
Pop up some corn, pop open some camels, and pop in a rockin' video.
Fair enough is a Truth production.
Peter Travers of Rolling Stone says the Oscar for this year's Best Animated Feature Film belongs right here.
Maggots.
Johnny Depp, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
This is gonna be good.
Rated PG.
done.
Come here. It crashed again.
Reboot with F8 into safe mode.
Hostile target, tracking southeast, 270 for 50.
Roger that.
A robot can make a car. But this is how you can make it roar. A chip can control the engine. But this is how you can set it free. A manual says what a car might do. Now discover what it wants to do. Give it the edge. Give it Syntec. No leading oil provides more horsepower. For maximum power, great cars want more than just oil. Give them liquid engineering.
Michelle?
Butterfinger Crisp, the first wafer candy bar with Butterfinger cream.
Michelle, look at the screen.
What?
Butterfinger Crisp from Nestle. Break out of the ordinary.
Check this out. This is what we do for a living.
We're software developers.
With the online program from Westwood, you can train from home to design, code, and test games like this.
And this.
Can you believe that we get paid for playing games?
Westwood College now offers training online for video game careers. Call toll-free 888-636-0077. That's 888-636-0077. Call now.
Get the latest cheat codes and walkthrough strategies.
We've got the Hulk, vampires, and ghosts coming up on Cheat.
Cheat with Kristen Holt, tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
I once asked the chairman of the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, what was the most important technology coming down the pike? I thought he might say voice over the internet or digital television. No, he said compression. Compression is very important. You have, on the one hand, more bandwidth all the time, bigger, fatter pipes, high-speed internet, but you're also trying to jam more down that pipe all the time. You've got to squeeze it down so you can get it in more places. Digital compression techniques have absolutely changed the world of storage, the transfer of audio and video information, and as with any technology, size matters. Smaller is better, as long as you don't give up too much quality. Today we're going to learn a little bit about compression and some of the things that you can tweak yourself. So once you understand what's going on under the covers here with a peek below the sheets, our own Steve Gibson. It's so great to have you. One of the great guys in the business. Of course, the creator of Shields Up, which is the ultimate security website. Everybody should go to grc.com and test their system out. New leak test coming soon.
Yep, SpinRite.
SpinRite, of course. We can't forget. With the ultimate disk testing and recovery software. Yeah. It's inspired all the rest, but it's the original.
And pays
still
all
the best.
my bills.
And rightly so. And I use it all the time. So. What can we start like at the beginning? Video, uncompressed video is huge.
Uncompressed video is huge because, I mean, look at your video card. You know, we're familiar with video cards, for example, where they brag about 64 megabytes of video RAM.
Right.
Because, you know, these large images, when you multiply the horizontal by the vertical resolution, you get a huge number of pixels.
And that's just one frame.
For one frame.
And you're doing 30 a second.
Exactly. Exactly. So the thing that's happening is that we're seeing that little PDAs like this guy are becoming increasingly powerful. So they're actually able to decompress video, and the open source movement has made these video decompressors free. So for example, this is a Palm Pilot that is playing back video compressed at 30 frames per second.
Amazing. You would have said it couldn't be done just a short while ago.
Well, and it's coming from a little solid-state card, like this little SD card. You can put, with sufficient compression, 7.5 hours of full TV quality. I mean, this quality video on that little card.
Because it's a gigabyte. Now, all video is compressed. When you're seeing this show, you're watching this show on a digital channel, it's been compressed. You couldn't really send uncompressed video through the airwaves. You couldn't really send it, well, you could send it through the airwaves via analog, but not via digital. You couldn't send it over a cable. You couldn't send it over a satellite. And so it's all compressed. The degree of compression is the issue.
Well, yeah, degree and type. For example, DV camcorders, the very popular consumer digital video camcorders, those even the super quality of those is compressed.
About what, 5 to 1?
It's about 5 to 1, exactly. And the key is every single frame is compressed separately. Now we even have compression, for example, in JPEG, in standard JPEG still images. It's a technology called discrete cosine transformation. Basically, it means that we understand what the human eye sees, and we're able to take out redundancy in the image.
And the eye kind of makes up the difference.
Well, exactly. And you know, normally, if you have like an image editing program, you're able to change the compression ratio. That is how much compression on this single frame of JPEG. And if you go up too high, it starts getting kind of like, you see sort of like weird blocky echoes around the fringes, and it gets kind of blocky and not good. So, but the point is that the amount of compression you give to a frame is variable. And that's how many bits it was required in order to express the picture. So in digital video, every single frame is compressed by itself. Well, DV is huge. It's not nearly, for example, you're not able to compress it small enough to transfer it in any feasible time, or even to store it on a media as large as a DVD, 4.7 gigs.
We have to recompress it even further to put it on a DVD.
Well, and what's done is it's this notion of not all frames standing alone is key. You and I standing here talking. Most of the picture is not changing while you and I are talking, you know, the so-called talking heads. So all that you really need to do is to get the whole frame encoded once, then only encode the changes between frames.
Just compress you and me and leave the rest unchanged.
Exactly, and that's essentially what this MPEG 2 and MPEG 4 are excellent at that.
These are compression standards. MPEG 1 is hardly used anymore.
And it was originally invented for video CD.
Right.
And that's actually a fixed rate compression, whereas MPEG 2 and 4, they get more clever by using variable rate. For example, if you were watching a car race,
you need a lot of compression, a lot of motion.
You need a lot of motion when the cars go whizzing by, but before that, nothing much is changing. And so the clever people at the Motion Picture Experts Group, which is what MPEG stands for, they figured out, wait a minute, if we analyze the raw video once, to find, here's a lot of stuff changing in the frames, and then nothing's going on for a long time, then a lot changing, and then nothing going on. Well, they know that they need overall a certain number of bits for the total budget.
But you can get more bits to the stuff where there's a lot of changing than you do to the stuff.
Well, that's exactly right. So instead of
you're allocating your budget.
Yes. So that's why you require 2 passes. It's 2-pass compression. You make 1 pass to analyze it for what are the high motion scenes, and then you make a second pass where you know what your budget is, and the first pass is said, okay, you can have this many bits in order to encode this range of frames.
So you don't encode until the second pass. First pass is analysis.
It's exactly.
Okay.
Now, probably the best encoder now for personal computers is this Dr. DivX encoder, using the DivX technology, which gives very good compression. It's got a ton of settings. I think we have a shot
this is it. We've got it running on our machine,
showing how many different settings there are. So there's what size it wants to be, what bit rate, how many passes you're going to have. In general, if you're not in a hurry and you can operate in the slower mode, it's able to do a better job at like finding motion in the picture and encoding the result so that it's what you want.
So you should usually take 2 passes.
You really need to. You're going to get much better quality if you use 2 passes. Is there
a choice for 3, 4 passes?
There are some that are multi-pass, although the benefit from multiple passes drops off very quickly. I mean, if you were doing something that you wanted to keep for 10 years and was going to be viewed a lot, then you could afford to spend more time once to like really make it as efficient as possible.
What is this?
Well, the way MPEG 2 and 4 work, they have 3 types of frames. They have called I, P, and B frames. I frames are so-called index frames. That's a frame which takes a lot of bits because it's the entire scene. That is, every single thing in the picture is shown. Then P stands for predictive, because then after you've got the main sort of reference panel, then all you're doing is encoding the differences between that reference frame and the next one.
So this is almost the background, and then this is the foreground as it changes.
Those are the changes.
Yeah.
These B frames are both ways prediction. They essentially look into the future and encode what's going to happen in addition to what has happened. Oh, it is heavy duty.
Lots of math.
Heavy duty technology. And so what happens is you have an index frame and then some pattern of like PPB, 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 until you get to another index frame.
That would be a scene change, most likely.
Well,
yes.
scene changes. A scene change is like when suddenly the camera jumps to something different. There's no practical way using these P's and B's in order to like express the whole change. So you'll sort of insert an index frame, but you also accumulate little errors as you go along. And so unless you sort of like realign periodically, and so for example in classic on a standard production DVD, you'll have an I-frame every 18 frames. And so it'll be I, PPB, PPB, and then another I. But in Dr. Divx, it's every 300 frames. The reason it's so much is that the I-frames are huge, and you don't want them very often because they're expensive in terms of bits.
So more compression, but you degrade your quality a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
Real briefly, there's a new form of MPEG-4 called H.264. Apple's released it with QuickTime 7. A lot of people are getting excited about that. Is that going to be the next?
Oh, it is a stunning advance. It's actually not MPEG-4. It's a different compression technology.
Oh, it's completely different.
But it can be carried in an MPEG-2 or 4 stream.
Got it.
MPEG-4 had a problem coming out of the gate because of licensing, much like the Sony Betamax that died.
It was owned by somebody.
And it wasn't enough better than MPEG-2 that it really had a chance. This H.264 is 50% the size of the file for the same quality.
Is it going to replace DivX ultimately? Is that kind of the future?
It'll just sort of slide into it. It'll be, for example, there are already standard codecs that are available that allow PCs.
Like QuickTime.
Exactly. Yeah, QuickTime 7 is now incorporating 264.
So if you're going to encode down the road, you might be looking at that. But for right now, Dr. Divx, especially if you're going to these things, because there are Divx players for almost every device now. And that's key. You have to be able to uncompress what God compresses, Divx decompresses.
Well, on our show notes, I have links to all of this stuff. So people who are interested are going to be able to follow up and find
pretty amazing. You know, as usual, it's kind of black magic in the box, but the results are really great.
And you can carry movies in your pocket.
Yeah,
hours and hours.
And now you know a little bit more how it works. Steve Gibson is the founder of Gibson Research Corporation. You know where to go. grc.com for SpinRite, Shields Up, and a lot more. And of course, our show notes have all the links. callforhelptv.com. Let's give you a little taste of our technology trivia quiz right now. It's quiz time. Who directed that famous 1984 Super Bowl commercial for Apple? Was it Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, or Sir Isaac Newton? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues.
Do you believe anything is possible? I do. I work at Earthlink.
I believe internet good can defeat internet evil.
A world without spyware, viruses, or online identity theft. Hello.
We've got the tools to make that dream come true.
It's time to start believing. Call now and get a great deal on Earthlink High Speed.
I believe in a place where our information can be safe.
I won't stop fighting until we get there. I believe.
I believe.
We work at Earthlink.
And we're making unbelievable things happen every day.
Call 1-800-827-0142 and get the first 6 months of Earthlink High Speed for just $19.95 a month, or visit these retailers.
See you tomorrow, Gary.
Earthlink. We revolve around you.
Before, after.
It's hard to believe I have hair again.
Even a little hair loss was a lot to me.
It's amazing, isn't it? No hair? Hair.
I look horrible in this picture.
If you can't get used to seeing yourself without hair,
waited so long.
It's not just for men, it's for us too.
Honest to goodness, real hair.
It doesn't even look like myself, does it?
For more information, call 1-800-985-1697.
Every day, Progressive does something that's, well, progressive. They have this ticker that shows their car insurance rates and their top competitors. Right now on Progressive.com, you can see actual rates that people are getting. Sometimes Progressive is the lowest. Sometimes they're not. Hey, if they're this helpful when you're shopping for car insurance, Imagine how they'll be once you're a customer.
Jason from California.
Kathy, Michigan.
Today, thousands of people will go to Progressive.com, where they'll get their quote for car insurance and see what other people have been quoted as well. Whether Progressive is the highest or the lowest, you'll see it all. Go to Progressive.com, because the more you know, the easier it is to make a smart decision.
And now we have another caller. We have Andy on the line from Rishi-Bucto, New Brunswick.
Andy, what are you doing in Rishi-Bucto? You should be... Oh, it's a different Andy.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm good, Leo. How are you?
I'm very well. Welcome to the show.
Excellent. Thank you.
What can I do for you?
I'm trying to find out if there's any free USB token authentication software available.
So you mean you would like to take a thumb drive, a little USB key, and put something on it that would, what, log you into your computer, for instance?
Something like that. I'm thinking mainly of something that would control, like internet access through a USB drive, so that if somebody didn't want people to go onto the internet in their absence, they could just take the drive out and away they go.
Well, first of all, let's think how this would work. So what we would need is a hook into Windows somehow. Windows would have to give you some sort of way of telling it, oh, don't look for a password. Look for authentication on a program or something like that. Yeah. And then you'd need to have, you do this with public key cryptography. You'd need to have your own public key, or private key actually, on this little USB key, and the public key would be on the computer, and they'd check, and if it was a match, they'd say, oh yeah, this person actually has the key that should unlock this door. In fact, you know, people have been doing it for a long time with these solid-state keys. They're not hard drives. They're just little, you know, dongles that you're plugged in, and they validate software, or they let you log into Windows. Because, in fact, Windows XP and NT in 2000 do have a hook built in. Now, I don't think they have a hook built in that say, can we get this guy online? What they would do is they'd log you out when you remove the key, and they'd log you back in when you put the key in.
Right.
So it would not just protect the internet, it would protect everything.
Okay.
And there are, I don't know of any free programs, although there are some projects. This is a Unix one called PAM. I think probably the ones that work with Windows are going to be a little less, you're going to be a little less likely to see those because you have to be a Windows developer, et cetera, et cetera. But there are a couple. This is one called from DeckArt. It's a secure login for Windows. It's exactly what you want. It's software you'll put on your Windows and on your USB key. You do have to enter a PIN number. So it is asking for a PIN number in addition. It's kind of super secure. Or you could use biometric data. You could use a thumbprint or whatever. And then you'll get logged in. So in other words, it's like more than just a password. The guy can't log in unless that key is plugged in as well.
Right, okay.
So this is one, it's called DeckArt. It's from DEKART.com. And this is another one. It's called Proteg. And it's from inflexpoint.com, inflexpoint.com. It's the same idea. Now, I don't think it'd be, these are only $19. They're not hugely expensive. Are you thinking you need a bunch of them?
No, I was just looking for something simple. I must admit, all the ones that I've been able to find seem to be pretty expensive, but
yeah. Well, $20
seem to do 10 times more than I actually want.
Right. $20 is not horribly expensive.
Oh, God, no.
This does allow you, it says you can have workstation settings locked. So this would allow you to use the administrator settings and say no internet access, and then unless somebody were logged in with the key, then the internet access would be unavailable. So I guess in a way it would do kind of what you want.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is pretty amazing, and this is because we have public key cryptography, the ability to have on the computer something that anybody can see, but it validates that you're the real person if the key has this private thing on it that no one should see, and only you got to hold on to that key because there's nothing to keep somebody from copying what's on that key. But they need both ends of it to make it work. Andy had some, I remember you did a review, but this wasn't that, it was to protect passwords, right,
yeah,
on a USB key.
Protect passwords, but actually I found yet a third one, a shareware program called Natural Login Pro. It's $30, same kind of idea. You plug it in, it gives you access.
I think it's a great idea.
Takes access away. Very smart.
You know, people may say, well, why do you need to be so secure? But you've got everything. Your life is on there, especially if it's a laptop.
Well, it's funny. Its marketing angle is, don't let the kids change all your files while you're away.
Well, there you go. That's it. Well, we'll put all 3 in the show notes, Andy, so you can take your pick. All of them allow you to try before you buy.
All right, great.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Excellent. Thank you.
Take care. My pleasure. 2 Andys. It's too much for me. Why would an architect try to design a building without a blueprint? No, you wouldn't do it. Or put up curtains before you frame out the wall. So if you're building a website, you need to kind of mock up what's on your mind. Amber's here to show us a nice Windows tool that'll help you think about your design graphically before you actually implement it. Stay tuned. Call for Help continues right after this break.
Cry Wolf, rated PG-13.
Man, what's gotten into people lately?
Introducing new Triple Threat. It fuels like a power bar and tastes like a candy bar. One bite and you'll feel like you can take on anything. Be great.
It really saved our marriage.
We couldn't find a single activity we'd like to do together.
He's so into his skeet shooting.
Pull!
And I love my yoga. I mean, Dungeons & Dragons always sounded like so much fun. But with that 20-sided die, I thought, oh, brother.
And all those manuals.
But that's where the book comes in.
Have you ever wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons but were too intimidated to try? You are not alone. D&D is a hugely popular pastime that lets you ride your imagination into a mythical world full of beasts and sorcery. But many people think D&D is too complicated. Not to worry, friends. D&D for Dummies makes it fun and easy, giving you all you need to play, including ready-made characters and maps.
D&D for Dummies hooked it up. It gave me the confidence I needed to begin my journey from first-level barbarian to epic-level dungeon master.
And it gave us something fun and creative that we can do together.
That too.
Available at your favorite book and game retailer.
What are you setting your sights on? And when you see it, will you be ready? Just pick up the phone, dial 1-800-645-ARMY, and you'll get this free DVD. You'll learn about the hundreds of opportunities the Army can offer you. Skills, education, healthcare. Call 1-800-645-ARMY, and you'll also get this free boonie hat. Whatever you're looking for, the Army can help you find it.
Check this out. This is what we do for a living.
We're video game designers.
And we're game programmers.
With the training offered at Collins College, you can learn to design, code, and test games like this.
And this.
Game design is a growing career.
For a brochure on a career in game design, call Collins College at 1-888-256-1200 now. That's 1-888-256-1200. Call Collins College now.
Tonight on Attack of the Show, the Yin Yang Twins serve up a crunk juice cocktail.
Big behind, I need a dime. That's top of the line. Cute face, real waist with a big behind.
Attack of the Show, tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Need a late night snack? Try Barbed Wire Biscuit. Blow stuff up and learn about science with Brainiac. Get sick and twisted with the Happy Tree Friends and Friends. And sample the best eye candy from Japan with Anime Unleashed and Cinematech Nocturnal Emissions. Taste the party. Barbed Wire Biscuit, tonight at midnight.
Every project needs a plan. If you're about to go down the path of creating a website, you should write down your goals. You should think about what you're going to do, and you might even want to do a little sketch. Just to remember to include all those essential components. Well, Amber is, as always, with our web workshop, going to review a viewer's website, and she's going to show us how some simple software can help you kind of navigate the maze of navigation.
Very good. Yeah, so today we're gonna look at a site from Newfoundland, and this is from Art and Carol, and they've sent us their website, and they want to basically know, like lots of viewers do, how to actually make the site better.
Now, I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
Pretty. It's very pretty.
It's very pretty. It has lots
I like
of
the
nice
color
pictures
choice.
on
You
it.
could tell a woman was involved with this.
Yes, I think you're probably right. I think Carol did a good job.
Yep.
And so, basically you come to the site, they have lots of images, which is really, really nice, but we're going to talk about is actually the site architecture, which we've talked about a few times before. And we're going to talk about actually how to initially do a site map that helps you develop the website as you go forward. So we're going to use Microsoft Visio to check this out and see how we can help them out a little bit.
Now you can buy this standalone, but I think there are versions of Office that come with
it. I think so too. And you buy it as standalone. I think it's about $200 US for the standard version.
You might already have it.
Yeah.
So don't go out and buy it unless.
And this is the professional version, which is a little bit more. I think it's $500 US. It's really actually quite expensive.
It's expensive.
And there's other software you can use, or you can.
And it looks just like this. That's the amazing thing. Why do they put the whiteboard on there? I guess to explain what it is. Because this is what you're not doing with Visio.
This is what you're getting rid of.
This is what you're getting rid of, but they put it on the cover.
I know. So what you do won't look like that, hopefully. But you can do that if you don't want to pay for the software. Just to say, you can take a whiteboard, or you can take a piece of graph paper, and you can just mock things up. So,
are you drawing a kind of a layout of the page, or are you more thinking about the flow of the page?
Well, I think initially what you need to do is actually do just a really rough site map, and we'll look at what I've done here for Art and Carol.
Yeah, see, this isn't what the page looks like.
No,
this is how it flows.
This is the very first step when you're building a website.
Okay.
Think about how the actual website is going to be structured. So how it's going to go from the home page to all of the other pages. So right here we have the little home icon, and you see how it goes to the next level of navigation, and then it goes kind of beyond that. So that's the first thing to think about before you get into what we call mock-ups, which are actually taking these individual pages and mocking up each of the pages with links and those types of things.
Makes sense. You got to figure out what pages you've got.
Yeah, so you start at the very beginning. So you start at the home page and decide your navigation, and then kind of move down from there and go deeper and deeper into the website, and then you get to these points.
People like me resist this because we don't want to get in a situation that's rigid, that we cannot add stuff to. So do we have to really think about every possibility now, or how do you incorporate changes that are, or plan for changes?
Well, what you're talking about is scalability. So you have to deal with that a lot with websites when you're building websites to make sure that they're scalable.
Not just more users, but more content.
Exactly, more content. So what you can do is you can build the site so that the very top level of navigation, there aren't too many top levels, and you can always add to that. And so also think more, broadly in some areas. So make sure that there's always room to add to your navigation, so you can, build down from there, and then the site is always scalable. So that's one thing to make sure that you do from the beginning of your planning with the architecture.
It's fascinating to watch pages like Amazon.com, which have they started selling books, and so it was a lot easier. The tabs at the top were categories of books. But then they started selling tools and toys and everything else. So the categories now, instead of being books, there's a book category, but there's a tools category, there's a clothes category.
Exactly.
And so you change. They had to change.
They had to change, and you just kind of evolved, So if your site's small at the beginning, start with really, simple things and not a lot of different tabs or navigation or those types of things. And then eventually, if you think your site is going to get really deep, you can just add on to the navigation versus like a shallow site architecture. So another thing that I wanted to show, so I basically, as I say here, I just took some of their top level navigation, I added it here, and then these are some of their sub pages. And one thing I wanted to mention is that when you're actually building a site, you should think a lot about the goals of the website and what you want people to come there to actually do when they get to the website. And it sounds so simple, but if you have a website, say with Twit or something like that, and you want people to go there and you want them to download the files,
this
those
is
are
my new podcast.
Exactly. Say if there's the top 3 things you want people to do there, you want them to log in. The login should be the very top of the page and very prominent. If you want them to
move that.
Yeah, I know. That was my subtle way of saying that. And if you want them to download files, then you should, the next link should be, download.
Well, the truth is, you don't have to
files.
log in to download the files. So I put the download files first, and then the login below that.
For sure, and make sure that it's above the fold, and those are the things. So think about the top maybe 3 to 5 things.
Yeah, the login. You're right. I have a quote.
Yeah.
Move that quote block.
Yeah, maybe move the quote a little bit and move it down somewhat.
Get rid of that.
So think about the top 3 to 5 things that people are going to do on your website and put those at the top of the page and the most prominent things, because then you eliminate the frustration of people coming there and not knowing where they're going. So it would be like if Amazon had a website and they put, buy this at the very bottom of the page, no one's going to buy anything. They're going to go surf somewhere else. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at that. Also, I wanted to just mention, I've talked before about the site WebMonkey, which I think you're pretty familiar with.
Well, they went away, and I
we missed them
Yes,
terribly, and they're back.
They went away and they came back, and I'm going to put a link to this in the show notes.
It's a great
But
site.
this is an information architecture tutorial, which sounds a little bit complex, but it's actually no. Don't be afraid.
Scared.
Don't be afraid. It's only there's only 5 lessons in it, and it's just text, and it's really easy to follow through. But what it does is it starts from the beginning to talk about why information architecture is so important and what you need to do when you start building your site. So if you want to start building a site and you want some help in terms of the planning, come to WebMonkey, check this out. It will only take maybe 20 minutes to walk through all these different pages and these different steps, and then you can start from the beginning, do site goals, then do a site map, and then do your mock-ups, and then kind of go from there, and you should have really solid architecture.
I'm going to get rid of the quotes. Fortunately, because I used a content management system, it's a couple of clicks. It's a very simple thing to redesign.
Yeah, so just look at your site again and say, what are people coming here to do, and then can they find those links easily? If they can't, then you're in trouble and you should change it.
She's so clever. She never hurts your feelings. She subtly gets it. You want to submit your website for a subtle review, and mail the link to
Amber@callforhelptv.com.
I've learned my lesson. Okay, now, I want you to visualize yourself. Everybody, close your eyes, unless you're driving. If you're driving, why are you watching this show? Close your eyes, visualize yourself grabbing a snack from the kitchen. That's okay. But visualize yourself back here in 2 minutes, because lots more is to come on Call for Help. Stay right here. Stay here.
There exists a place where your wildest imaginations can come true. The world is at your fingertips for you to control. And you make the rules. Come to Southern Institute School of Animation and Game Design at Virginia College. Powered exclusively by Alienware Technology.
You are what you play. Who are you? Rated T for Teen.
How far would you go to get cash to buy video games? EB Games hopes that this scene is not familiar to you, because it doesn't have to be. There's an easier way, pal. Take your pre-played video games to EB and trade them in for cash. The same for DVD movies. Trade them in for beautiful, sweet piles of cash. It's easy, it's quick, and frankly smells a whole lot better. EB Games and Electronics Boutique. Trade for cash. Trade for games.
Great news, Mrs. Wilson. Credit Card of America is able to cut your monthly credit card payments by $248.
Mr. Lynch, it looks like you'll be able to save over $13,000 in interest payments with Credit Card of America.
Credit Card of America is a non-profit credit counseling company.
We're here to help you solve your credit problems and meet your financial goals.
Take this important first step toward financial freedom and call Credit Card of America. Certified credit counselors are standing by right now.
If you are $3,000 or more in debt and 30 days behind in payments, we can help you. So call our toll-free number.
Our certified credit counselors are standing by to provide you with free credit counseling services and assist you in becoming debt-free.
Take this important first step toward financial freedom right now and call Credit Card of America. Certified credit counselors are standing by right now. Call Credit Card of America.
We can assist you in becoming debt-free.
Have you ever been playing a game and really wanted to change something about the design, music, or story? Then you should think about making games your career. You could be a 3D modeler, animator, or storyboard artist and be part of a team creating games like this. Sound like something you could get into? Westwood College can show you how to make it happen.
Train online. Call 877-558-2953. That's 877-558-2953. Call now.
Get the latest cheat codes and walkthrough strategies.
We've got the Hulk, vampires, and ghosts coming up on Cheat.
Cheat with Kristen Holt, tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Windows tip of the day. Here's how to group similar taskbar buttons together in the little task tray bar at the bottom of your screen. Click on Properties, go to your taskbar, click Group Similar Taskbar Buttons Together, And then all of the programs that you have open in different windows will all collapse into one. And now we have another caller. We have Eve on the line from Ottawa, Ontario.
Hello, Eve. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm very well. Welcome to the show.
Well, I just want to start by saying I love your show.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I watch it whenever my 22-month-old daughter leaves me sometime alone.
I know how you feel, Eve, and I know how hard it is when you have, especially an almost 2-year-old. That's tough.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, my kids are 13 and 10 now, and I was just thinking, I wish they were babies again. They're growing up, and it goes so fast. Enjoy this time, because it's really a special time.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So what can I do for you?
I've got a quick two-part question.
Okay.
The first one, I've got about 200 CDs, which I'd like to buy an MP3 player with a hard drive.
Yeah, it's so great because you get all your music on it.
Exactly.
It becomes your library.
But my dilemma is that there's so many options out there. Like there's the iRiver, the Creative, and the iPod.
Right.
I'm just not sure which one to go to. I was going towards iPod, except I read on the internet that there's a static issue on the 4th generation.
I haven't found that. There's really the most important decision criterion is very simple. Now, for you, if you're only going to use your own music that you've already purchased on CD, you don't have to worry about this. But if you ever think you're going to use an online music store, that is the great dividing line.
Okay.
If you ever want to buy music on iTunes Music Store, you must have an iPod.
Okay.
You can only play it back on an iPod unless you remove the copy protection, which you can do, but it's an extra step and it's a problem. So if you want to use iTunes Music Store, got to use iPod. That's Apple's little way of kind of guaranteeing things. If you're going to use Pure Tracks, Rhapsody, Napster, any of the other Windows Media-based music stores, you can't use an iPod. It won't play those back. Now, there are hooks, and people who've looked into the iPod code have seen there's hooks in there for playing back Windows Media files. But as of right now, they do not. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Apple make some big announcements in the next few months. Maybe one of them will be that it'll play music back from these other stores. However, for right now, that's the big deciding issue. I don't have any problem with quality control on the iPod. I've had about 4 or 5 of them, including the 4th generation. This is one of the new iPod photos. Katya, our wonderful producer, lent me this. She just got it. She's in love with it. Katya, you don't have any problems with it. There's no static issues. There's no noise. She's very happy with it. And I've had a lot of iPods. Now, any hard drive music player is potentially fragile because, there's a hard drive. There's moving parts in here. You can't let your 2-year-old play with it. You can't toss it around. You've got to take a little bit of care of it. But I think it's very good. Now, you mentioned the other 2 choices, in my mind, the other 2 great companies. iRiver makes great hard drive players. The sound quality is excellent. They have additional features like FM, radio. You can record things that aren't built into the iPod. And you'll be able to take advantage of some of these new deals. Yahoo just announced $5 a month for all the music you can store on here. You can fill this up for $5 a month. That's a remarkable deal. Doesn't work on the iPod. So you gotta consider, where am I going to get that other music from? If it's just your 200 CDs, you got your choice. In fact, 200 CDs, we won't even need one of the bigger devices. That's not a whole lot. I mean, these things are designed for thousands of songs, many more CDs than that. I personally like the Creative Zens, but I think the iRiver would be my first choice. So if you're going to use Pure Tracks, go with iRiver. If you're going to use iTunes Music Store, go with the iPod. And I have no hesitation in recommending it. Quality control is as good as any of these. All of them can have problems, just like any other device.
Yeah.
But if you bet, Toronto now has an Apple Store, and I recommend buying it from the Apple Store. My experience has been very good in the Apple stores. They're good about taking stuff back and fixing it.
Okay, the Apple support is good.
Yeah, especially at the Apple Store. I've found. Now, other people complain sometimes, but everybody I know who's ever had to take something back to the Apple Store has been surprised by the ease and the speed with which they'll replace stuff and make it right. So I have no hesitation in recommending it. Anytime you're cranking out 15 million of these in a few months, or what is it, 5 million in a few months, you're going to have a few lemons.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think they've done a very good job, and look, to me, the iPod is the greatest thing ever. I love it. I have no hesitation in recommending it. Okay?
Which format, is the best to record in? Because there's MP3, WMA, AAC, and now I've read this new one, OGG Vorbis.
OGG Vorbis, yeah. I don't like OGG all that much. OGG is mostly because it's got no proprietary hooks in it. You don't have to pay license fee, but I don't think it's necessarily any better. In my opinion, AAC is the best. But again, it's going to be an iPod if you're going to do AAC. That's what Apple supports, what the iPod supports. WMA requires, iRiver will use WMA. I think WMA is also very good. MP3 is the older of the three, and while it's the most compatible and the most standard with all devices, I think it provides the lowest sound quality. The truth is, if you encode it at a high enough bit rate, 160 kilobits for AAC, 160 kilobits for MP3, 128 for AAC, it sounds great. You're not going to notice a difference.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thanks, Eve.
Well, thanks a lot.
Congratulations on your child. 22 months.
Thanks, and have a good day.
Oh, you too. Take care. Hey,
Okay.
it's time. It's time to head on over to say hello to Amber. Sometimes our techie jobs, can turn a normally active person like you and me into puddles of potato on the floor, lumps on a log. We sit for hours surfing, typing, clicking. We really should get up and move around. But how do you remember to do that? Amber's gonna tell you.
Yes, I actually have to thank my brother for this. This is a program called Time Out, and it's for the Mac. And what it does is you can set it so that it tells you to take mini breaks, and your screen will go a certain color, and it tells you to get up.
Work?
You can get it to let you work again, but it basically will notify if you're sitting for too long. So if you take a look at it, it's really easy to set up. You can set the background color to show, when it actually tells you to take a break. The normal breaks that it suggests are to take about 5 or 10 minutes every hour to get up and just kind of walk around. And then you can set it with little micro breaks. And you can set that so every, say 5 minutes, it tells you for 10 seconds just to stretch and move around a little bit. So it's this great tiny little program. Exactly. So we'll put a link to this on callforhelptv.com, and people can download it, and they can, take a time out when they're at their computer for too long. And thanks to Jeff for sending this to me.
Thank you, Jeff. You're working hard to make your sister get up and get away from the computer.
I know.
Away from the computer.
He's worried about me, I guess.
Time for a little micro break, but we'll be back in just a bit to talk about improving the quality of your television's picture. The perfect tweaks for the perfect picture when we come back. But first, let's test your brain, stretch your brain. It's our quiz question of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, who directed that famous Apple 1984 Super Bowl commercial? Was it Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, or Sir Isaac Newton? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues.
From motherboards to the mother of all TVs. When you know what you want, buy it at Newegg.com. Great prices, huge selection, unbelievably fast shipping. Once you know, you Newegg.
Baked Cheeto snacks. Dangerously cheesy.
Carol Sanderson as Boundless Energy and Drive. At Medford High, Carol is editor of the paper, dive team captain, head of the Future CEOs Club, prom queen, and still has the energy to learn Mandarin Chinese. Lovely, Carol. Sobe Adrenaline Rush. Energy for the rest of us.
BK is making NFL history. Every Coded Angus wrapper scores you Gridiron Extras, like a free day of NFL Sunday ticket from DirecTV. Long live the king.
Check this out. This is what we do for a living.
We're video game designers.
And we're game programmers.
With the training offered at Collins College, you can learn to design, code, and test games like this.
And this.
Game design is a growing career.
For a brochure on a career in game design, call Collins College at 1-888-256-1200 now. That's 1-888-256-1200. Call Collins College now.
When so many little things go wrong, it's good to know some of the big things won't. The nice thing about the HP Pavilion notebook with Intel Centrino mobile technology isn't just its price. It's the peace of mind you get for the price. Like a warranty that's longer than most. Support with industry-leading response time. And tech help that actually helps. Get a computer and a company you can count on. Call by September 17th to get an HP Pavilion notebook with Intel Centrino mobile technology, just $899. Order now and get a free second battery and free shipping. Or ask about other notebooks with Intel processor starting at $529 after rebates. Too bad everything isn't backed with this much support. HP Pavilion notebooks. Brilliantly simple.
This Thursday on the G-Spot. Sandals and leather skirts are optional. G4 enters the arena with the producers of the upcoming Spartan Total Warrior.
You end up killing tens of thousands of people by the time you've finished.
Then, on Friday night, it's the season premiere of Electric Playground, the show that brings you the hits before they hit the shelves. Find the G-Spot, weeknights starting at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Ah, yes. Remember that Super Bowl commercial? It only aired once. And the copy was why 1984 won't be like 1984, because Apple was going to introduce the Mac, and Ridley Scott directed that very famous commercial. Still gives me chills. Almost every television has a menu. Well, in the old days when I was a young man, they had knobs, but now they got a menu where you can tweak the picture and play with it. In the old days, all we could do is vertical hold, horizontal hold, tint, and color. And maybe contrast and brightness. Now you can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Andy's going to show us how to tweak.
Every remote has that setup button or that menu button.
Yeah.
I've got a Samsung LCD TV here.
This is a nice TV.
Isn't it beautiful?
How much?
40 inches, $4,000 US.
But it's LCD.
It's LCD.
Prices have really dropped quite a
They
bit.
really are. Yeah. And Samsung helped me out with the segment, so I have to say thanks to them.
Thank you, Samsung.
Let me just invoke the menu. This is not unique to Samsung.
They're all roughly the same.
They're all roughly the same thing. You're going to go find your picture menu. And you're going to go to mode.
Okay.
I'm on custom right now. Now, mind you, there are some automatic functions, so you can change.
Many of them have
the
that indoors, outdoors, and mostly changes the what we call color temperature, which is the color of cast to the screen.
But let me just show you how to do it custom. We're going to deal with blacks and whites today.
Okay.
Contrast is the color of whites on your television.
How white the whites are compared to the blacks.
Right. So let's actually invoke a scene on a DVD. This is the best way to fix this. I'm going to go and find.
What kind of scene are you looking for?
We're looking for something with a lot of white with some detail in the white.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's pause it on here.
Because if you make it too bright, you won't see the detail anymore.
Exactly. So I'm going to go into contrast mode.
Let's look at his shirt.
Yeah. And I'm going to crank the whites all the way up, the contrast all the way up until see that the details start to fade away.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is go past, blow it out, and then come back to it. So the details are improved but not too soft.
Okay.
So that's how you would set